Once you have your wall set up, we are going to focus on square objects that we see on our walls, like posters or windows. Choose your first square or rectangular shaped object and find the edge that's closest to the corner of your room. You don't have to choose an object that is the closest to the actual corner, but sometimes it helps later when you're trying to draw objects that are further and further away. It'll help you with lining these all up. Once you find where you're going to put your edge, line it up with a ruler and draw a line all the way through. This can go from the top to the bottom of the paper, or you can try and stop it where your object stops and starts by looking where it stops and starts in relation to the floor and the ceiling. If you do draw your line through your paper, once you remove your ruler, take a close look at your room and make light marks where one edge of your object meets another. Once you've figured out the corner of your object where it turns and starts to come outward on the drawing, use your vanishing points to line up your ruler with those two marks that you made. If you're drawing something on the left side of your wall, use the right vanishing point, and if you're drawing something on the right side, use the left vanishing point. Similar to how we drew our first line of our object, we're going to draw a line going through starting from the vertical line, the edge of the object that's closest to the corner. This can go past where the object actually ends, or you can try and stop it where you need the object to stop. But if you do draw a line going all the way through, once you remove your ruler, again, take a look at your room and make light marks where you know the object is going to have another corner and turn upwards or downwards. I drew these lines not all the way to the end of my paper, but further than they need to go. So now I need to look at my window and make light marks and figure out where these two top and bottom lines actually end. So I'm going to take my ruler and line it up. This is going to be a line going straight up, and then I'm just going to make a line and complete the shape by connecting the top and the bottom. Now, a window is not just a blank rectangle. There's usually framing around it, other wood paneling to give it more detail. It also maybe pops out a little bit, so you need to add some depth too. You're going to do this by using the same method we did to draw the original shape, just either on the outside or the inside of that shape. So anytime you have a vertical line, you're gonna go straight up. This is just with rectangular shapes or square shapes that are straight on your wall. And anytime you have a horizontal line, you're gonna use your vanishing points to create those. Once you also have the outside of this shape, you can erase the horizon line that's going through the center of it if it is throwing you off or anything like that, because you no longer need it to work on this shape. If you're drawing a window or a poster or something that has more detail other than the shape itself, don't worry about that until the end. I'm not going to draw the outside of the window yet. That's going to be done later. Make sure you're keeping an eye out for details within your room that you're drawing. I have this chair rail that kind of goes along the bottom of the wall, so I'm going to add that. I'm also adding dimension to it, so my window and this chair rail have a top and a bottom, and I can see the left side of the window from where I'm standing where it's popping out. So I'm also adding lines to make that visible on the drawing. This is just going to make it even more realistic. Once you move on to your second object, I recommend choosing an object that is close to the first object you did. It makes it easier to judge where these things stop and start and where they fall along the wall. For example, I knew the tops of those posters were just slightly underneath the top of my window. So since I had already had the window drawn, it was easier for me to place them. Up until this point, all of my objects had been on the left side of my corner in the room, and now I'm working on the right side, so I will be using the left vanishing point.
Welcome to the show. We could play for a little while before it's time to go. This could last forever. Maybe just a while. You decide. This is gonna be the rest of my life. Hey Raoul.
If you're drawing something that isn't 100% rectangular, like this tapestry, it is a rectangle shape, but since it's fabric, it has dips and folds. Still use your vanishing point and your ruler to help direct you in the correct angles that you need to go, but then you can fluctuate the line that you make once you know the correct proportion and angle that you need. Once you have everything that's square or rectangular shaped on your walls, you're ready to move on to the next step.